Hello, everybody. Welcome to Generation Gap. I'm Gretchen Fabiani. I'm joined as always by my co-host Tom.
And I'm Tom, joined as always by my co-host Gretchen.
And today we're doing a Halloween themed special, counting down our top 5 classics for the spooky time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So we each have 5, so there's going to be 10 total. I don't think there's going to be any overlap, and we're saving the end for a couple of honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm gonna have us kick off with honestly just talking a little bit about like our experience with Halloween, like this time of year in general. I know for our house, Halloween has kind of become a tradition.
Yeah.
We never really trick or treated or anything like that, but Dad was always big on old horror movies. So around this time of year growing up, we'd watch like one of the big ones was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh,
We
yeah.
did that one every year.
Great one.
And
It's
Bob
a good
Hope's-
introduction to horror because
It
the
is.
humor to kind of
Mhm.
offset it a bit.
And it's absurd enough, and it's far enough removed from scary that like I think as kids it didn't really cross over
Yeah.
into
Even
like
the scary
frightening.
scenes, you laugh. You know?
Mm-hmm. And we also do Bob Hope's Ghostbreakers
Oh yeah.
pretty frequently too.
Yeah. Another
But-
good one.
That's grown as we've gotten older. So now like this year, we all watched Nightmare on Elm Street, which my sisters had not seen.
Mm.
So it's
The
been
original from '84.
the original one, yeah,
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah.
How about you?
That's a good one
Oh yeah,
for its genre.
I think it's probably the best of the original
Oh,
three
yeah.
slashers.
Yeah. Although I like number 3, the Dream Warriors, for some reason too. I thought that was good.
I haven't seen any past the first one.
Yeah. I've talked to your father about some horror films, and it's funny because he loves a lot of the same films that I do too.
Yeah.
And it's funny talking about Halloween. I know a lot of people, Christians in particular, who don't watch or celebrate Halloween, but I can certainly separate the two. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can you can enjoy good horror films or haunted houses, attractions. I grew up as a kid. I loved horror films. I loved horror magazines, which were a big thing in the 70s. In fact, I just was so thrilled because we went to see some friends of ours, and somehow I don't remember how we got on the subject, but the guy had a bunch of horror magazines, and I thought, I've been burned before,
Yeah.
He was like, "Did you like those old like famous monsters of Filmland?" And I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I love those." He said, "Yeah, I got a whole bunch of them." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "You're welcome to them." And I still didn't get excited because I said, "Yeah, I've been down this road, it's probably not." And he had a whole bunch of them. He must have had like 50 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and from like my time, like 70s into the early 80s.
Nice.
Some of them were just covering Star Wars, which of course is not a
Not a
horror
horror
film,
film.
but it was part of that whole famous Monsters of Filmland lore. And yeah, he said keep them. Yeah. So I brought them home. I put them underneath some weights because they were a little bent. So I got them all flattened out. I was like, oh my gosh. And I told him, I said, I've heard this before and I usually end up being disappointed. So I try not to get too excited. This was great. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So horror was kind of making a comeback in the 70s because you had the 30s and 40s, really good Universal classic horror films. And then it kind of faded a bit, got a little more to science fiction. And then in the 70s, I just remember there was a big resurgence of horror. And so I grew up at a good time.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, and a lot of horror magazines, like I said, creepy and eerie magazines. And it seems to be sort of making a comeback now. They're actually putting out, it's called Creeps now because of copyright issues.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're trying to bring it back. I don't know how well we'll do, but it's nice to see anyway.
Definitely.
I think it's good. I mean, if you can separate that, which I think some people have a hard time doing. We talked about that. I don't think it's necessarily going to make a whole generation of killers.
I hope not.
I mean, I never, it didn't affect me that way. And the bloodier, the better to me as a kid.
I just like a good scare.
Yeah,
So a lot of these that we're gonna be counting down, looking back at my list, there's not a whole lot of
Gory
gore.
slashers.
No,
Yeah, no.
Most no.
I've said this before. I think you don't need that, first of all. And I think the really effective horror films are the ones that kind of, you imagine it. You imagine what's happening. Like we were talking about Dirty Harry films where he'll say, like, that kid had his head blown off. You don't have to see it. You know that it happened, and you can empathize and understand it.
Right. Without
I think that's so much more effective. Yeah, I think we've gotten away from that, unfortunately. It's like the haunted houses. I mean, and even amusement park rides. I mean, they're still effective, and we do like to be scared as human beings.
Oh yeah.
And I think a good horror film does the same thing and has the same effect.
I've got my zombie 5K in 2 weeks, so
Oh yeah,
we'll
right.
see.
That should be great. Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
But without further prelude, let's get in with pick number 5.
Oh, okay.
You want to go first, or do you want me to?
Well, yeah, I can go. I was gonna. My five would be actually the oldest film on the list,
Okay.
and I think because it's kind of to me the sort of the granddaddy of all horror. I'm gonna go with Frankenstein, the original
Okay.
from 1931. I think Dracula came out a little bit earlier.
It did.
Same year. Yeah, I wasn't sure. But to me, still, Frankenstein seems like the original. It's the OG of horror.
I fall asleep in parts of Dracula. I don't during parts of Frankenstein.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is exactly about Frankenstein or Boris Karloff's portrayal. And I've read the Mary Shelley novel, which is also good, but totally different. I thought Karloff really nailed it. I thought, the good mix of horror and sort of sympathy. He didn't ask to be created, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I heard a great comparison because a lot of people think Frankenstein is the monster. It says, being smart is if you know that Frankenstein was the doctor and not the monster, but wisdom is knowing that
Frankenstein was a monster.
Yeah, Frankenstein was the monster. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's a really good.
Or no, it's the other way around actually. When you think that Frankenstein was the monster, but it's really the doctor, and the monster really is the doctor.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he really is, and it's sad because the monster. Even in the book, it touches on that, and in the book, the monster speaks eloquently in multiple languages, and he's verbalizes that he didn't want to be created.
Frankenstein is
what do you do with me now?
Frankenstein's one of the great adaptations, and it was like one of the first ones.
Yeah,
because they.
Yeah, because there was even an earlier one by Edison, right?
Yeah, in the early 1900s.
Yeah, 1910, I think. Yeah.
They solidified like a mythos, like a character in Frankenstein that is totally alien from the one in the book. That monster is not in the book.
Right.
But that's the one that we know.
Right. Yep.
Boris Karloff's portrayal we've carried for almost 100 years.
I think it's so effective. Like, I don't know. I've seen versions where they have had the Frankenstein monster speak, and I didn't like it as well. I mean, and even in like Frankenstein, Boris Karloff's portrayal does speak in the later films, words here and there. It's not as effective either, I thought. I kind of liked him not speaking because that's what we were sort of nurtured on.
It's a really powerful performance.
Yes, very good, yeah. And just, again, the darkness, the black and white, I don't think it would have worked as well in color. Black and white, there's something effective about that.
It was like coming on the heels of the German Expressionism, too. Like, James Whale was really big on that. And, like, the way that they utilized shadows was so big in building Gothic atmosphere.
I love the shadows, I still, to this day, my kids won't even watch a film. They'll say, is it black and white? Like, yeah, but black and white's great.
Oh, yeah.
I think, especially when it's been restored and it's so crisp, I think it's better. I really do. I know I'm alone maybe in that, but I think, especially for horror films, the darkness, the shadows, I love that.
I think if a film was made in black and white, it should stay that way.
Yeah, I do too. I've seen some colorized versions, especially early on. They were horrible. But yeah, so Frankenstein to me is, and the original, I still remember the actor, his name was Charles Ogle. The original silent version, which is just such an unusual name, so it stuck with me. But yeah, I love that, and I think, like I said, I think that set us off. Even though Dracula was first, I think Frankenstein kind of pushed it.
Yeah, if Dracula was the first, Frankenstein solidified that this wasn't just a one-off thing. Yeah. Audiences like being scared.
Yeah, yep. And sequels quickly followed, which were just as good, if not better.
That's the other thing too. Like Frankenstein, for me, I saw that a ton growing up, and for me, that's almost like a comfort, it's almost a comfort film. And in the 30s, when it first came out, audiences were like, they did react like in terror, which
I know.
Even to a 10-year-old me, I was like, why?
I know. It's kind of hard to believe sometimes. I know. And it's hard to even transport yourself to that time because I realized, all right, well, this is the 30s. Seen this before, sure. Right. It would be kind of scary, but I still don't think that's scary. And the scariest scene was the one they always cut, which was when he tosses the spoilers again.
Oh, yeah, he throws the
little girl into the
water.
But even that, but you understand that he didn't understand.
Yeah.
He really didn't seem to get it.
It's more sad than anything else.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it was out of any kind of malice. He was throwing in the flowers, and now what do I throw in now?
Right.
I throw the girl in. Yeah.
He's it's one of also like the most like parodied reference. Like that's so imprinted in pop culture language. Yeah. Every kid has seen the big scenes in that movie 100 times before they've even watched it.
Oh yeah.
Like we all know that.
And everyone knows Frankenstein. It's a Halloween costume still. You know. I remember when they just had those little masks with a rubber band.
Yeah.
And that was popular when I was a kid growing up. Wearing that, everyone knew. And how many Frankenstein versions there's been? Like
there's one coming out this month, like I think this week.
Yeah, yep. I mean, not even counting the original Universal sequels and sidequels, whatever. But even Robert De Niro played him.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's been like tons and tons of really ridiculous versions of it too.
Yep, just from a little novel written by little Mary Shelley.
Well, the inventor of the science fiction genre. We owe her a lot.
Yeah, yeah, we really do. Yeah, great, successful first and I think only novel.
I think so. Yeah, the little book that could.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is John Carpenter's The Fog.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised. That's a good one too.
I love John Carpenter.
I do too.
I fought over this list. I love John Carpenter, and as much as I love his other stuff, like The Thing is fantastic.
I love that, but is it horror or sci-fi? I'm not sure. It's a little both, you know.
I think the atmosphere of The Thing qualifies it for a horror film.
Yeah, I could go with that. That would have been on my list. I wasn't sure about the sci-fi.
It was on mine. I had to kick it off.
At home, I have the DVD and it's in my sci-fi section, so I go by that. I looked at horror.
I think The Fog works on so many levels. John Carpenter is clearly such a fan of horror.
Yeah.
By casting Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis, like mother and daughter.
I think that's their only. Right?
Only on screen together.
Yeah.
Both scream queens of their respective decades in that film.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere that he builds in that movie is so great.
It is.
I've sat through way scarier, like way gorier movies, and the end 15, 20 minutes of that movie, I'm still on the edge of my seat. Like it's creepy.
Very well done.
It's so good. And the way that he builds the background of the film into like the lore of like the sins of our fathers. Like there's so much interesting stuff in that film.
And it's a great cast. Hal Hobart.
Oh, it's a great
great
cast.
in that.
Jamie Lee Curtis, of course.
Yeah.
Adrienne Barbeau, who I love.
Yes, I was just gonna say she was very good in that too.
She's
as a radio DJ. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's very good.
And I don't know if she and Carpenter were married at the time.
I think they were at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she was used quite a bit.
Yeah.
In his stuff.
Also in The Thing, did you know that as the voice?
As the voice of the computer.
Yeah. Very briefly.
Yeah. She's great. Everyone's great. It's also a very female-led horror film in like a unique way where everyone gets to do something cool and interesting.
Yeah.
And everyone is a victim. Like they don't really they actually do play with tropes, and that's got a pretty unconventional balanced cast. There's a lot of different plot threads running at the same time.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly it's one of my favorites to put in of his.
Yeah. That's good. I'm surprised. I'm glad you chose that too. Because I've seen that movie multiple times and I've really enjoyed that.
I feel like it gets forgotten in his filmography.
It does, yeah. I think The Thing is much more, well remembered.
That and Halloween are like the two biggies.
Right, two biggest John Carpenter's. But the Fog, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. And the ending, remember?
The ending's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't want to give that away, even though it's an old film.
It's so
but
good.
Yeah,
though.
it really fits the theme too, because you're left kind of wondering, like, a little unsatisfied.
That shot of all the specters in the church is legit. Like,
and you feel sorry for them, even though they're the bad guys and they're pirates.
They're right. They're justified.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, really well done.
What's your number 4?
Oh, let's see. What do I have? It's really hard for me to even boil it down to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's like picking a favorite
really
child.
A horror fan, yeah. And I hate to even disappoint anybody because there's just so many.
Oh, I'm going to disappoint people.
Yeah. Well, this one, I think, and again, there's a reason because I didn't see it. It came out when I was 11 years old, and I didn't see it right away. But I did see it, I think 2 years later, maybe. I lived in a small town, and they had a movie theater called the Lost Picture Show, which was fitting. It was kind of set back. Yeah, it was great. And they would have revivals. They'd have old films. So I didn't see Planet of the Apes in 1968. I saw that in like 1970. And that movie made me love films. We've talked about that before. I just think it was just, I was amazed by it. I was moved by it, and I thought, wow, this is what film can do. So this, to me, was the movie that made me love horror.
Okay.
And it was The Exorcist.
Okay.
It's got to be. It's always on the list of greatest horror films, and sadly, I don't know if it holds up as well. I still find it sort of terrifying. But when I saw the film, I was the same age as the girl Reagan in the film.
Okay.
So it had a real profound effect on me, and I actually asked my parents if I could sleep in their bed that night, which I was, a little old for that. But that's how much it scared me.
Wow.
And and I was a horror fan, so very few films really. Maybe because I was the same age as Reagan McNeil. But I just thought it was terrifying. And it's funny because they did I forget how many years ago, they did that sort of re-release where it was the footage you never got to see.
Oh, yeah, the director's cut.
You called me a director's cut. And I was going to the movies to see a different film with my family. And I said, I just want to peek in at The Exorcist to see how people are reacting.
Yeah.
And it was that scene where her head spins.
Oh, yeah.
And people were laughing. And I was so disappointed. I felt like Kevin McCarthy at the end of the invasion. I want to run in and say, no, don't you people realize this is terrifying? Like, why are you laughing at this? Like, I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
It had a totally different effect on people because people have become very jaded.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. How could she spin her head completely
Sure.
around, you know? But I remember that to me was one of the scariest scenes in the film. You know, it was a highlight of the film. And so I was a little disappointed at how it was received, especially because it's always on my list of top 10 horror films. So if you haven't seen it, you know.
I actually haven't.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I have not seen The
Oh,
Exorcist.
wow.
No.
Yeah, I'm wondering how. I mean, it's a little gory and it's a little raunchy in scenes, but it's supposed to be, you know, a demon possessing her. And I just thought it was so effective. I was really, like I said, obviously I asked my parents if I could sleep in their bed that night, so it really had an effect on me.
They had a couple sequels to that too.
They did. Not as well received, not as well done. The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, had Richard Burton. You know,
okay.
Big star. That was a real disappointment. It had Linda Blair in it again also, but it was just not good at all. And then Exorcist 3, I actually enjoyed. I thought it had some good thrills, some good scares.
Interesting.
Yeah. It actually had Patrick Ewing, the basketball player.
Really?
Yeah, as a demon in one scene. And that was effective because he was just walking and it looked like he was floating as he walked across. I think it was Patrick Ewing. Anyway, he was a big, tall basketball player.
This is the third one?
Exorcist 3, yeah. And had Brad Dourif in it too. As a
I do love him.
Yeah. And it actually brought back Jason Miller, who was older then, hadn't really done as much, but he's in it again too, and it was good to see him.
Is the third one the one with George C. Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he kind of plays the sort of Kinderman role.
You are correct. Patrick Ewing as the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes, and if you see it in that scene, it's terrifying almost because he's so tall, and well, if you see I'll even give it away because by the time you see it, it's gonna be too late. You know, not be scared. But somebody's walking, and all of a sudden you see him coming by, and he's got these huge like scissors almost, and he's walking like right behind the guy. It's like, in the audience, people were like, "Oh my god!" They get all scared. It's a great scene.
Anyone that plays for the New York Knicks is officially certified as the Angel of Death.
That's true. That is true. But it was a great film, and you know what? I rate films by. I don't usually have too many jump scares in my life. I don't. You've seen enough horror films, you kind of know what's coming.
To them, sure.
You start to predict things. That movie, I do remember that I jumped probably 2 or 3 times, which I'm like, well, that's a thumbs up because that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know? Anything movie that gets me scared is effective.
That's pretty good.
But still, Exorcist the first, again, you wouldn't have 3 without the first, and I still think the first was more psychologically disturbing maybe than horror, although there's certainly elements of horror too. And I think it was the first horror film to be nominated for Best Picture.
Ooh, again,
Very
often referenced. I've seen parts of that everywhere.
Yeah, and it's been also, you know, spoofed and satirized and remade. Still going on. There's still exorcisms of anybody.
It's part of film language. We're used to seeing it.
It is,
same as Frankenstein.
Yeah. And William Peter Blatty, really, he wrote the novel that, you know, set that whole thing going, still going too. So any writers out there, potential writers, you come up with some unique idea, you know,
Be
really.
paying off that forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't know.
My number 4 is Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh gosh, another great one.
From the 70s. The 70s
yeah,
version.
the 78 version. Don Siegel.
Don Siegel. I grew up, so I didn't even grow up with the first one. I saw the original one first.
Yeah.
Oh,
you did?
I did.
Oh.
I didn't see the remake until this past year.
Oh.
And I said, you know, I liked the original. I thought it was fine.
Right.
And then I watched the remake earlier this year, and I was like, this is next level. This is good stuff.
It is such a great film. You know, I'm so happy to hear that again. Just to say, I saw it the opposite. I saw the remake first, and it was funny because in '78 I was in high school, and I was in a theater arts class, and the teacher took us to, I think, Jersey City, New Jersey, to see the film when it was released. Okay. Which was really kind of a cool thing too for high school kids to go to see a movie. And I loved it. I thought it was so well done.
It is.
And so I saw the original after, and I just...
You kind of let down.
Yeah, I was kind of let down. I know it's the classic, and it's a good film, but the sequel I thought was so well done.
I think the remake expands on the ideas in such a clever way. And, like, the Invasion Body Snatchers, like, on a basic level, it's, like, that very clear, very basic, like, hey, someone that I know... is different, and I can't put my finger on why. Yeah. And you can apply that to anything. Like, people like to, the original Body Snatchers, people apply to the spread of communism, because that was what we were afraid of back then.
Right.
But the 78 version makes it more of like a loss of your own identity, and it's like you're gone and everyone around you can tell, but they don't know why.
Yeah.
Even like that early on when it's like a kid, like that's not my parents. I
Right.
don't know who that is, but it's not my
Right.
parents. It's
Right.
such a visceral, like clawing feeling in just that you can't get rid of. It's not like something that's scary you can run away from. This is a pervasive. Everyone around me is different, and
Yeah.
I'm probably next.
I love those types of films too, where
Mhm.
it's paranoia like
Yes.
that. I really, I'm a sucker for those films. I
It's
think
so
they're
good.
because everyone can relate to that.
Mhm.
Like, again, you put yourself in that situation. What do you do?
Exactly.
And sort of like Kevin McCarthy in the original and the whole cast in the 2nd
Mhm.
one. How do you tell people? How do you wake them up?
Mhm.
And you don't even know if they're themselves anymore.
Right.
And that is so effective because even as the audience, we're kind of guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when they see Leonard Nimoy and they're talking to him, you're like, is he one of them? Like,
Yeah.
You're not sure, you know?
And I love, like, Leonard Nimoy is one of those guys, too. Like, for me, and I grew up big Star Trek kid.
Yeah.
To me, he's always Spock.
Right.
Like,
But he was great in this.
But he's fantastic in
Yeah,
this. And
he really is.
He's
almost Spock-like,
yeah,
too.
he's playing
And
that
yeah.
same thing he's known for,
And it
but he's
works so
playing
well.
it on the villain side. He's
Yeah.
so good.
Because, again, you're not sure. You know,
Mhm.
is he one of them?
Yeah.
Because he's got that sort of logical, and that's kind of how you can tell. Like, they don't have
They
much
don't have
emotion.
emotion
Right,
anymore.
and he plays that really well.
Mhm.
The whole cast was great, I thought.
The cast is fantastic. Veronica Cartwright, who we were talking about before
Yeah.
we started recording, actually.
Yes.
Donald Sutherland, who I just genuinely enjoy and stuff.
Yeah, he's very good and very solid. Perfect
Very-
casting. Matthew.
Very young Jeff Goldblum.
And young
For
Jeff
a couple
Goldblum,
minutes.
very good in it also.
He's also
yeah.
good.
And Brooke
Brooke Adams.
Brooke Adams is great
Mhm.
in that. Yeah. And if you haven't seen it, yeah, definitely. And the effects were much
Check it
better,
out,
obviously,
yeah.
compared to the original.
And you want
56, I think.
and you want to talk about one of the endings of all time.
Oh yeah.
Like that's an ending.
Yeah, it really is. Yep, and it'll stick with you.
It's a gut punch.
Yep.
So good.
So well done.
What's your number 3?
Well, I'm going to some of the classics. My number 3 would be from the year after The Exorcist. You can see when I was a kid when I first saw these. It was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay, another one I haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean it's very effective, and you know what I find so interesting about it is that I was horrified. My cousin had told me about it before I saw it, obviously, and he was telling me in gross detail all the things that happened. So of course I wanted to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw it, I remember thinking the same things, like what he had told me that I saw all this gore, you know, a woman hanging on a meat hook, and you know all this stuff. And then when I saw it again not that long ago, I was like, wait, they don't actually show that? So it's funny how the young mind
just fills in the blanks.
And my son had also seen it. He's like, Dad, no, they definitely show that. I saw it not that long ago. I said, are you sure? Because I just watched it. And we watched it together, and he goes, yeah, look, now they hang the girl on the meat hook. And I was like, yeah, they don't show it. They show the meat hook, they show the guy pick up the girl, and then, of course, your imagination
fills in
the dots there, and you're like, wow, they don't really show that. So I'm kind of happy that it's not as gory as I originally thought. I didn't like. It's one of those movies that I thought the beginning was so effective, and again, a cast of unknowns. I couldn't tell you anyone in it.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in it.
The only thing I knew was that who does the John Larroquette does the narration in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. Before he ever became famous from Night Court or anything.
That's random.
Yeah, it's very random. But cast of unknowns, which I felt really lent to the authenticity of it.
Yeah.
Again, it was sold as sort of a true story, just like Psycho, and all based on the real Ed Gein. Although they have nothing to do with Ed Gein, none of those films do. So I thought this really had happened, and so that kind of added to the discomfort and the horror. And the fact that it was a cast of unknowns, I in my young mind, I kind of thought, are these people really dying? Like, did they really die? Like I told you, there was other films I saw where Scanners was another example of a horror film, science fiction horror film.
Enough people you don't know.
Where people I don't know, the guy whose head explodes in the beginning. I remember for years saying, I never saw that guy in another film. Did his head really explode for this film? Was he that dedicated of an actor that he said, yeah, do it? But
I
you know,
hope not.
yeah, no, I hope not either. I have to check that out. But
that was Tobe Hooper, wasn't it?
yes, Tobe Hooper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he did Poltergeist.
Yes, yeah. So he that set him on the road. You know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's kind of a master of horror also, and but that was considered so shocking at the time. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Leatherface, and that's also got a life of its own. But nothing compares to the original as far as I'm concerned.
Another bunch of sequels and remakes.
Yeah. And again, because you just felt that terror, and you could see yourself in that same situation. It was really well done.
I
thought at the end it got silly though.
I have heard that.
Yeah, I wish it hadn't. I watched it again, like I said, recently with my son, And I actually didn't even watch the ending because I just thought it gets so silly it's really about the family. I think they were kind of going for that a little bit. And I don't know. Didn't work for me.
I've heard it has like a similar vibe to like the first Evil Dead movie where it's like a bunch of unknowns and
Yeah.
everybody's kind of getting picked off in ludicrous ways.
Right, yeah. And even that got a little silly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it got sillier,
Evil
obviously.
Dead's ridiculous.
Yeah, the sequels, of course. But the original, if it had just been a straight horror film, it would probably be on my list.
Bruce Campbell, I think, is exceptional, but I don't remember anybody else in that movie. So
No, and they're forgettable. Yeah. And
I
I didn't know Bruce Campbell the first time I saw that film. So
well, he was nobody.
Yeah, he was nobody. Yeah, and then I think that's his personality. I think he is very funny.
I think he is.
So
too.
I think the sequels got
They
sillier as they
on
went
him,
on. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Psycho.
Oh yeah, that was almost on my list. I figured I got to have at least one Hitchcock. And I didn't, but yeah, that's a great one too.
I just watched it again.
That's also Ed Gein, based
on
Ed Gein, which has nothing to do with Ed Gein.
And he's like, Hitchcock was already like known at that point because this was 1960. He's already been doing stuff for a while.
Yeah, great stuff.
He's so comfortable with his own craft that he gives the audience like so much. Really, like there's a lot like you're trying to put together. It's almost like the audience is almost making it a mystery for the first 2/3 of it.
Oh yeah.
And like I feel like audiences could at the time, again, now we can see the twist coming.
Right.
You can kind of be like you can.
Yeah, now it's almost predictable, but it wasn't then.
I think my sister the first time we watched it. My middle sister, the first time we watched it, she goes, "Bet you $10 he's his mom," and then like
really,
she was like, she'd never seen it, but she guessed it out the gate.
Yeah, but I don't think in '60 they were.
But it threw my dad.
Did it?
Yeah, who had also never seen it before.
Oh,
My dad's 55, and my dad had never seen Psycho until 2 or 3 years ago.
Wow. And he didn't.
He didn't guess. No.
I can't even imagine it now, only
Yeah,
because it's so part of our.
Well, it's like the Empire Strikes Back ending. Everybody knows it. Like,
yeah.
You can't imagine not.
It's become such a part of our culture almost, you know. But it's funny when that movie came out, audiences were warned.
Yes, do not come in the middle.
Yep, and don't tell anyone. Yeah, your friends, your neighbors, don't tell them about the ending.
Yeah, it was really a big marketing thing.
It was. And it was effective and necessary, I think.
Yeah, and it is an effective movie. Like, you're following this character for the first 2/3, the first third of it. She dies.
Right, which was shocking.
Yeah.
Especially at the time.
And then you're kind of
usually you're used to the heroines, you know.
Make it to the end.
Yeah, and defeating the bad guys, yeah.
But not only that, it was also, like, one of the first times, I think. And, like, the movie's big. The only, like, real thing that it suffers from is the ending, having to go through this big dissertation as to why this is what we're here. When a more modern audience who's more familiar with that kind of thing could just go, oh yeah, he's multiple personality disorder, got you.
Right.
Because you can kind of pick that up and put it together as you're watching it if you've seen that kind of thing before. In 1960, if you haven't, you maybe needed it.
Yeah, and I think they felt it was necessary.
Yeah. But I think. I mean, we've seen, like, that shower scene's been done before, that score's been done, since then, so many times.
We could do a whole podcast just on that show, because even the score, you know, great, who was it? Was it Herman? Bernard Herman?
I think so.
Great score. And you know what's funny? I've seen clip by clip dissections of the shower scene, and you never see the knife hit her body.
No, you don't.
And people insist, you know, they it's like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the hook.
You don't see anything.
You don't see anything. Yep, really don't see anything.
It's not real blood.
So masterfully done. So many clips that he edited together to make it look like you're seeing her. And you know, it's famously known that they used a melon to make the sound of the knife hitting the body. Used chocolate syrup for the blood.
Chocolate syrup in the drain.
Yeah, because the blood ketchup, it didn't show up. It showed up as silver on the black and white film.
Janet Leigh even said that, like, she watched it and she's like, she couldn't shower again.
Oh, I know.
It's freaky.
Yeah. If people were afraid to go in the water after Jaws, people were afraid to go in the shower after Psycho for sure.
And the performances in that one are also like they're also Titanic. Like people, you know, Vera Ellen. No, that's the wrong one. It's Vera Miles. Yeah. And Janet Leigh are fantastic, but I mean, like. You gotta hand it to.
Oh, he was great in that.
Yeah, Anthony Perkins, who runs away with the whole movie.
He really does.
He's phenomenal being the end.
It is a tour de force, the whole role.
His last couple minutes he's bone chilling. He's scary.
Yeah, he really is. I wonder if he knew at that moment that this is him for the rest of his career. Yeah,
I don't know.
Because he really couldn't get away from that.
Yeah.
You know, he did end up making the sequel.
He made the sequels. Yeah.
Years later, because everyone saw him as that. That really became him.
He was Norman Bates.
He was.
But people still, like, that's, Bates Motel was still pretty popular. I think they did a prequel series, which is another thing I didn't think they needed, but
no, I agree. Yeah, I don't like prequels, in fact, either. I like my evil to be evil. I don't have a problem with that. Evil exists. And you don't always have to, like, even with Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I
You know,
don't
they
need
did
a
a
background on him.
prequel, like, yeah, you don't, just have monsters. I don't want to hear about Leather. And that's what I didn't like about Leatherface in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. When they showed the family, you could see he was almost like a little whipped kid. Like, the dad was kind of, and the siblings were kind of rough with him, and he would almost make like a whimpering sound like a dog. And like, wait, this is the chainsaw guy. Why does he seem like kind of timid now? You know, I don't know. I don't like background stories or explanations for horror or for evil.
No. Yeah.
Sometimes it just is, and I'd rather it is in films.
If you're gonna add it, I think like if you make it part of the first movie, like Freddy Krueger is a good example where it's like, hey, here's the background.
Right.
This guy sucks.
Yeah,
That's the
that
background.
fits.
Like,
right. Yeah. Right. We tried to kill him. He's back.
Yeah. That works.
And nobody disagreed with him trying to kill him.
No. And we watched that. Like I said, we watched that super recently, and I was like, oh, they don't even like bring up like, hey, we killed a guy. Like,
yeah. But I don't know. I don't know the whole story for all the sequels. At some point, I gave up. But like, I don't think they ever made him sort of sympathetic. Right?
I would hope not.
And I would hope not either. Right? Was he abused as a child? Like, I don't want to know that. We know what he did, and that was bad enough. You know, and that is enough. I like my monsters and my evil
monsters
served. Yeah.
I got you.
I don't want any kind of lessening of it.
What's your number 2?
Number 2. I would like to talk more about Psycho sometime too. That really
we're gonna have to talk about Psycho, like for a full
just from
episode.
a story by Robert Bloch, and it went on, and same thing. It's come back. Well, you know what? I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I think I would say, I'm gonna. This is number 2. I'm gonna say Curse of the Demon.
Okay.
Which was originally called Night of the Demon. I don't know why they changed it. It's a 1957 horror film. Also very, very effective without showing much. In fact, it's interesting because if you haven't seen it, or if you have, I did like the Demon. I'm not sure how I would have liked them not showing it, but Val Lewton, we could also do a whole podcast on. He was considered the master of light and shadow.
Okay.
And he used it so effectively. He did films, some of the films with the worst titles, like I said, The Cat People, Leopard Man, I Walked with a Zombie. He didn't get to choose the titles for his films. The studio did, and he hated the titles also. So don't go by titles. Give those films a chance because he does a great job with them. They're all really effective and minimalist. You don't really, again, not much gore, and you don't need it. But those movies are very effective. And Curse of the Demon, he fought with the studio, and he hated the film. There's even a story where he said that if he ever saw the guy who ended up overriding him, he would kill him.
Oh.
Can you imagine saying that back in those days? I mean, they didn't even, soften it. He just said, I'll kill him.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because they showed the demon. And that's the only version I've seen. I think there is a version out where you don't see the demon at all. You didn't really need to. I didn't mind the demon, although some people thought it was the weakest part of the film. Because it's a very effective film where there's an occult, kind of based on Aleister Crowley, the occultist. And he basically gets demons. People who try to disprove him or to show that he's a charlatan, he sends the demon out to get rid of them.
Yikes.
So there's your proof. He's not a charlatan. But he can't really control the demon. So anyway, so it's about another guy played by Dana Andrews. The film's mostly it's a British film. It's a British cast, except for Dana Andrews, who's also a great actor. And kind of not as well known as he probably should have been, but alcohol kind of derailed his career for a while, and then he became a speaker, about alcoholism. So I give him credit for that. But he's very good in it, and he's 100% convinced that this guy's a charlatan. The guy keeps warning him, "Don't try to expose me. I'm not going to be responsible for the consequences." And of course, he does. It's a really good film. It's very tight.
Interesting.
70-minute film, or 70 or maybe 80 minutes long. A lot of these old films weren't even an hour and a half. They were a little under that, which I figured if it's not a great film, you could spare an hour, hour and 30 minutes, or hour and 20 minutes. So I don't know. I kind of like seeing the demon. He was on the cover of a horror magazine I had as a kid. I remember drawing him as a kid. I can't imagine the film without it, but I do see that. In fact, I read that the one scene, it looks like he's on a dolly. And I was now aware of that, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, it does look like he's on a dolly. That doesn't look effective. But it's definitely worth checking out. Again, a lot of darkness, a lot of shadows, but a good story. Like you said, you didn't even need to see the monster at all. But seeing him's kind of a treat, I think,
Definitely, that's where you go.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of like a funny segue. My number 2 is 1941's The Wolfman.
Oh yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you did that because I chose Frankenstein. I was torn between Frankenstein and The Wolfman.
So For a couple of reasons, and the reason I say it's a funny segue is the original story behind this is they were gonna keep it pretty like ambiguous whether or not he was actually turning into a werewolf for the vast majority of the film.
Yeah.
It was late in production when they decided they wanted to make it a creature feature, and they decided to bring in the makeup and stuff like that.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's a really interesting point.
When you watch the scene early on when he's first bitten by the wolf, that's why it looks like he's just fighting with a large dog.
Right.
It's not Bela Lugosi
like
and monster
man.
makeup.
It looked like a wolf.
It's because originally at that time it was supposed to be, is this guy going crazy?
Yeah.
So.
And he plays that well.
He does.
Even though he is the Wolfman, we know he's the Wolfman. He's not so sure, or, he seems to be struggling with it.
I think of the original monster movies, I think this is probably the one with the most heart, and I think a lot of that's owed to Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah.
Who I think had one of the best and most empathetic horror lead performances of his era. Easily.
Yeah, I agree. He's one of the few monsters that really...
You feel terrible for him.
Yeah, and he struggles. He really does struggle with it. Every film, even the Abbott and Costello film.
Yeah, he spends like 7 movies trying to kill himself.
Yeah. Like,
it's
he's
horrible.
so sad. He doesn't enjoy it at any point.
No.
And the worse he gets, the worse he feels.
And it's heartbreaking. And the other half of this film, there's a couple different things. I love Maliva, and I cannot think for the life of me who plays her, but she's been in a couple of these.
You're talking about
the woman who kind of like teaches him like this is what you're going through.
Right.
And her name Maria. I cannot say that.
Yeah, I know it's a really hard name. I can't remember it only because it's a difficult name.
And Bela Lugosi, and who's like a horror legend, is there as the first Wolfman.
He is the first Wolfman.
And my absolute favorite
and he
horror
plays,
guy.
Is his character named Bella?
Yes,
it is.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
And the absolute
they didn't even try.
my favorite horror movie of all guy is guy of all times is Claude Rains. I love him all the time.
He's great in everything. Yeah.
He should have been in every movie for 20 years.
He should have been. He's always a welcome presence, isn't he?
And he's great in that.
He is
playing, and it's the way that they do this story, and like the Wolfman specifically, I think really explores kind of like passing on like generational trauma in a way that is interesting. The recent film, the 2025 film that we saw in January, Wolfman, also explores generational trauma in a way that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And how it's really how like that he's ineffective against his own son. He never really truly communicates that how much he cares about him until it's way too late.
Yeah.
Which is really it's upsetting.
Yeah.
And the depth of the emotion, but in that culture, the way that he can't ever express that until he's already destroyed him.
Yeah.
And
I was trying to think of another horror film where the main character really does have that struggle. Mm-hmm. Like even The Invisible Man.
Oh, he loves it. He's having fun.
He's laughing hysterically. He's having a great, and the worse he gets, the more he enjoys it. Like you can see it. He's like dipping into insanity.
Oh yeah.
But the Wolfman, like I said,
he's aware.
Always, yep, and horrified by it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to do it. Even in American Werewolf in London, like another takeoff on that.
A lot of werewolf movies tend to really play with that, like I hate what I'm becoming, but I can't stop it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like in werewolf culture, like werewolf media. Yeah. It's kind of become like vampires kind of love what they are, but werewolves are spending their entire lives trying to destroy what they are.
Yeah, it's true. And I think we owe a debt to all those Universal horror films. Like, what a great time to be alive in the 30s, where they all were introduced, and they still in some way exist today. Yeah. Like I said, the recent one with the Wolfman.
They were doing the Wolfman, as much as special effects changed in the 80s when they did American Werewolf in London.
Right.
And they did the howling and stuff like that, where you could turn a person into a wolf on screen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was amazing, yeah.
But the original Wolfman makeup was still incredible.
Oh, yeah. I think that's probably why they decided to go with that.
Yeah.
Like showing him as opposed to less is more. Mm-hmm. Because they probably did the makeup and said,
this looks really good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, don't waste it.
You want to show this. Was it Jack Pierce?
I don't remember, because I know at some point when they were doing those movies, the makeup switched over and it became somebody else's job. But I do think it was a Jack Pierce original.
Because he did the, obviously, Frankenstein, too. And he was the big guy then.
I'm trying to think.
That had to be tough for...
Jack Pierce initially designed it for Werewolf in London.
Oh, okay. The Werewolf in London, too, was almost on my pick also, because I wanted to have some werewolf film in there. But that was not as... obviously as well received, I guess, or as long lasting as the Wolfman. Mm-hmm. But I also really enjoyed Werewolf of London. Mm-hmm. Not quite. He didn't struggle. He also didn't want to be the werewolf. Clearly, I don't know any film where a werewolf enjoys being a werewolf. But although maybe some of the characters in The Howling,
Maybe.
But yeah, I love the effect of Henry Hull in Werewolf of London. Because that was one I could kind of do myself. I would comb my hair into a little triangle in the front.
That's really funny.
I would take my bottom teeth over my upper lip.
So you look like Eddie Munster.
Kind of like that, yeah. It's true. You didn't need much makeup or hair to do that.
I remember I watched She-Wolf of London. I remember being horrifically disappointed at the end. I'm like, this sucks.
I know.
What the heck?
Yeah, that was kind of like maybe what they had originally in mind for the Wolfman.
I think
it's
so.
more psychological. And you don't
I was
really
so
know
disappointed.
That, yeah, because you never see it. There was no werewolf, no Wolfman or wolf woman, nothing.
I owe my love of werewolf media to the original Wolfman.
Yeah.
I've always really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I gravitate towards them more than vampires and more than like any other kind of creature. So
Yeah, I did too as a kid. Yeah.
they're just the best.
They really are. I agree. I had no disagreement with me on that.
What's your number one?
Well, my number one, I have to. Oh, actually, that'll be an honorable mention. I have to go with, and this is going to shock you.
Okay.
It's called Isle of the Dead.
Okay.
Not I Love the Dead. Isle of the Dead.
Okay.
And not an aisle like in a grocery store, but like a small island. It's not a very well known film, but it's also by Val Lewton, the master of shadows and light. And it's a 1945 film with Boris Karloff. Who's great in anything. It's about 70 minutes long. So even if you don't love it, you get through it. It'll be over quick. Yeah, you don't have to wait too long, which I liked. But I'll never forget. I saw this. It was on like one of those 12 o'clock horror films. When I was a kid, and I watched it. And even a 70-minute movie, the first 30 minutes were a little slow, I thought. But boy, the last 15, 20 minutes of the film, oh, so scary and terrifying. Like no blood. I don't even think they show any blood. Just atmospheric darkness. And the story basically is that there's a plague on this Greek island, and one of the symptoms, I think, I may even be wrong, but it doesn't matter because the movie's so effective. I never really even paid much attention to the story, but I think it was a fear that back in those days, which was a real fear. The film takes place in 1910, that you could be buried alive, and sure enough, someone gets buried alive, but you don't know at first. You see a coffin. They don't bury it. They put her in a coffin, and it's like inside of a tunnel, and you hear water dripping, and it seems like a long time. It's probably not that long, but it builds, and the whole time you're watching, you're like, why are they? What's going on? You're starting to get nervous, and all of a sudden you hear the woman start to scream from inside the coffin, and I can tell you, it's very effective.
It sounds like it.
And then when you see her walking, and she takes this like 3-pointed sword, and I don't think they show any blood again, like I said, but it's such an effect. And they call them, I forget what the term is. It's a Greek term, but it basically means vampire. So, and it was a term they used at the time for someone who might come back from the dead and attack the living. And they do, and it's just a very. I recommend it. It's available still on DVD even, and you get 70 minutes. Give it a shot. You're not losing too much, and I think you'll agree. I think it'll be very effective horror film.
I feel like I haven't
It'll
seen
stick with you.
like any of your lists. I think of Jesse.
I'm kind of glad. I didn't want to pick like the big ones. I wanted to choose. Well, I mean, some are obviously big, like The Exorcist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I was trying to find something for my number one that isn't so well known.
Sure.
But that's truly a horror film.
Yeah.
Like I want, I don't want to be just grossed out by blood.
Fair enough.
I want to really be scared. And that movie did scare me, and still does. It's still really effective.
So I swung the opposite way. My number one is Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh yeah. It's so funny that I have Frankenstein and you have The Bride, and it was hard for me to even choose. But again, I had to go with the original, the OG on that.
So I've been looking for Bride of Frankenstein's been holding down the rep for Lady Monsters for almost 100 years.
Wow, yeah.
She's still a Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, my daughter dressed up as the bride when she was a kid.
She's got a great look, and I am forever indebted to Elsa Lanchester for bringing that to life. She's fantastic.
She is.
For all of the 5 minutes that she's on screen.
Right. Well, she's also Mary Shelley in the beginning, right? Yeah, which I thought was clever too.
My big beef with that movie is that she's not in it.
Oh, more. I know, and it's called The Bride.
Yes.
And she's got such a small amount of screen time.
With that said, though, as much as I love the original Frankenstein, a lot of what I love about the story, and like a lot of, I think, like the really iconic moments come from this movie. You got like Frankenstein taught like with the blind man.
Oh yeah.
And, like the slow
even the things that were spoofed so well in Young Frankenstein really from
are hilarious, and they're from this.
The Bride, yeah.
I think like Colin Clive comes back for Henry Frankenstein, and he's he's got another knockout performance. He's great, even though he looks very unwell.
Oh yeah, and he was that the one he was injured for too? I think he was mostly in bed. I think he got hurt riding a horse or something. I think it was either that or the Son of Frankenstein, one of them, where he's most of his scenes he's either sitting or lying, like stretched out because he was injured, and he had some issues with alcohol.
There's
struggling.
There's a lot of like there's like a couple weird moments, but like it's kind of like starts leaning a little bit more heavily into the comedy.
Yeah,
and it's asking like a lot of the questions that the original Frankenstein novel was intentionally designed to ask.
Right.
Like, why do you condemn me to this life of loneliness? You made me take responsibility for it.
Right.
Which I think is
because in the novel he does make a mate for
he does and destroys it.
Right.
So
before you even get a hug.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah.
I do love the bride, like for a number of reasons. Like partially she's down for, like I said, like one of the most iconic looking monsters of all time. Yeah. Even though we really, as of recording, we still don't have a justified Bride of Frankenstein film. Yeah. I heard that they're in production of one called The Bride.
Oh.
That's supposed
well, they
to
did do a Bride years ago with Jennifer Beals, which bombed. I think Sting might have been in it also.
That sounds like the worst combination I've ever heard.
Yeah, that tells you all you need to know, I think, right? Yeah, not a good one.
But I think...
I wouldn't mind seeing that redone. I'd like to also know why her hair looked like that. What was the justification for that?
It just looked cool.
But it was such a great look.
Yes.
And you know what? It's funny because her screen time is very minimal, but the performance
fantastic.
is
her
great.
Acting's great.
It is, and she doesn't say a word. But the way she even just cocks her head, looks around, it's almost reptilian. It's like very...
got something bird-like going on.
Yeah, something, moving. Yeah. Like she seems like someone who's looking at the world for the first time.
And Boris Karloff, too, like not to leave him out, he's like bringing the monster to life for the second time. Learning to speak and demanding companionship, like having it ripped away.
And the way he looks at her, and the way he's like trying to hold her hand.
So depressing.
Oh, it's so impressive, so sad.
The way that he condemns some people, like the people to die there with him, we belong dead, is that's crazy.
Yep.
And I know that you said earlier that you don't like it as much when he talks, but I think that's the exception.
Well, again, it's very minimal, and it was enough. It was perfect what he said, I wouldn't have liked seeing him speaking Latin and,
I don't think that portrayal... I don't think that portrayal would have worked with that.
No, and it made sense perfectly in the film, because when he sees the old man who's trying to teach him to speak, that all makes sense, too.
It's a really genuinely touching movie that, like... It's the perfect sequel to that first film.
It really was, I agree 100%.
Let's talk about our honorable mentions. I have 3. How many do you have?
No, I don't think I even have 3. Oh, I could probably just off the top of my head come up with some. Yeah. Well, if I go first, I will say I had to include a zombie film, and I'm going to go with Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 version.
Okay. Which
I really appreciated because it brought a whole new element of terror to the screen. The original, which I also loved from 1978, was very effective, a lot more gory than the original Night of the Living Dead. So that was kind of a welcome change at the time. I liked the whole trapped in the mall setup. I thought that was really effective too. The 2004 version just went a little further, and it introduced speed. So, in the original film, The Dawn of the Dead, one of the characters even is like running around, kind of punching them, knocking them down. Like it's like there's really no rush even. You can take your time because they're so slow moving. The second one, you are not going to run around punching them. They're chasing you, and they are fast. So I was like, oh my god, it's like a world taken over by zombies isn't scary enough. Now they're fast. Like Olympic athlete fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I thought it was really well done. I did enjoy it. I thought it's another film that you're put in that position where you're thinking, what would you do? Like, what would you do in that situation, And the mall seems like a logical place, right? Because pretty much everything's there. I thought it asked a lot of interesting questions. And it was funny because one of the questions it asked, which I thought was really well done, was at one point the guy is saying, like, it's sort of do you want these people in the mall with us? Like, do you want other people here with us? And he says, look, I'm just trying to keep them all out. And she almost felt like it was sort of a racist comment. And she goes, oh, who are you trying to keep out? He says, well, the zombies, So it's a question of that too. Like, do you try to save other humans? Because you don't know if they're bitten. So your circle becomes very small.
Right.
And she saw some other people banging at the door, and she wants to let them in. And the guy says, no, you know what? I know we're safe. I'm not letting anyone else in. And she's like, yeah, but they're human beings. He's like, but you don't know that. Like, they look human. And, of course, she wins. like in
Let
films
them
they
in.
always do, and they let them in. And
They're
of course, one of
infected.
them is bitten, and then she becomes infected and bites another, and and then it spreads. And now your safe haven that you just fortified, the mall, where you have everything you need at least for a while. Now it's not safe anymore. Now you got to leave the mall.
That's crazy.
And what do you do, right? I mean, so it poses interesting
Mm-hmm.
questions also that you may never want to face, and hopefully never will. But you don't know.
Yeah, I don't see myself looking down the barrel of a zombie apocalypse soon.
Yeah, hopefully
but
not.
You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
My-
They didn't either. So.
My first honorable mention is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
Part of that's part of it's a huge nostalgia thing, which some of these have been. I think it's the perfect. I'm a huge horror comedy person. Like some of my the repeats I go back to Ghostbusters, I go back to Beetlejuice. I think I like horror the best when it's a little funny. And Abbott and Costello is like the kind of like the OG of like you're laughing, but they're not downplaying how scary it is.
Yeah.
Like the monsters are still. They're being played like monsters.
Oh yeah,
they're not.
It's like they don't even know there's a joke going on.
No,
Right.
they're playing a very serious movie. The joke, the goofy movie, is happening alongside them.
Yeah.
And
that was probably the best. I mean, that introduced all the other Abbott and Costello meet. All the other
Mummy
people after
and
that.
the Invisible Man. This is the best
Yeah,
one.
it was the best.
Hands
Yeah,
down.
definitely. Yeah.
I love that like Bela Lugosi comes back. He hasn't done.
The only
time he came back, he did
Dracula.
Dracula.
Yeah.
And he's playing it like stone cold.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he is in this.
He does not seem to know that there's a comedy he's in. Yeah. Yeah. He's
And-
great. And Glenn Strange as the
Yes.
monster. Great job.
Lon Chaney Jr., who's playing it as serious as a heart attack.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. And as sympathetic.
As always, he's
trying to get Costello to help him.
he is in this, and
Yeah.
like there are times we watch. My dad laughs at this movie every time we see it, like he's never seen this film before.
It's
Like he
it's
just
a great film.
it is legit really funny.
And a great ending.
Yes,
Remember, they
it is a good
also
ending.
introduced one more-
Vincent Price,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
who
yeah.
did not make it onto our list.
No, he didn't.
Which
But
is
he's
sad.
yeah, of course he's in there.
Vincent Price he's one of those fantastic like poor presences that
Yeah, oh yeah.
I almost feel like I take him for granted
Oh,
sometimes.
I just saw him. Speaking of Vincent Price, I just saw him in an Alfred Hitchcock Presents last night. In fact, and no mustache, which was surprising.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, I know, but he looked good.
I saw him in something. I was it Rebecca or something like that,
Oh yeah, he did
or
originally.
Laura.
Laura.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's unrecognizable.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and he's such an evil guy in this, and
Mhm.
it's all because James Gregory, another great actor who played one of the apes in Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Yeah, he played Ursus, the gorilla. Anyway, he real quick, Vincent Price's character is supposed to be a genius at solving mysteries,
Mhm.
and it ends up James Gregory can prove that one of the mysteries he supposedly solved was wrong. So what does Vincent Price do? He kills him.
Murder. Yeah.
Yeah, he murders him.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes it so it's something that no one will ever solve. I didn't see it coming. It was very effective.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so what were we saying? Oh, Abbott and Costello, yeah, great film. And I just remember laughing at that too, like, and my kids impersonating him when they were little, doing the whole like. Remember when Costello was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. He does that. Yeah.
Chick. Yeah, it's Wilbur and Chick. Yeah,
No.
I just thought his acting was. My kids would do that and laugh too.
The worst part is, in that movie, they don't even get the biggest laugh out of me. I don't think it's intentionally funny, but there's a scene when like they're all trying to get out of Dracula's mansion at the same time,
Yeah.
and there's a full-fledged Dracula and the Wolfman fight happening in the background of that scene.
Yeah.
And there is a shot where Bela Lugosi as Dracula goes sailing by, like walking, like, and then launches a potted plant at the Wolfman, and like that plays like gangbusters in my house. I don't know why that is so funny, but it is significantly funnier than everything else.
And the effects are good because you remember
They are.
when Dracula turns into the bat.
Yes.
And the Wolfman jumps on him. That was actually pretty
That's
good.
not bad. Yeah, for 1940, I think 48. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. That was well done.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's it is really good. And then there's my dad's a big board game guy too. There's a board game that we play called Horrified. That's intentional. It's the original Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
And in the board game, there are certain like characters that show up that you can take and bring to other locations for like bonus points. One of those characters, it's a 2-piece. It's Wilbur and Chick from that
is it
film.
really? Wow.
So they're in Universal canon.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah.
What's
amazing.
your other?
Well, I had to have one Asian horror film, and that's also hard to choose. A lot of them have been either. I think they were mostly originally either Japanese or
Korean.
Korean.
I think has a whole bunch of
and then
ones.
they were redone. And most Americans know the American versions, like The Ring and The Grudge.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Asian ones, are usually better. I wouldn't say always. I forget which one, if it was The Ring or The Grudge, but one of them was, I thought the American version was actually better, which is unusual. But there was a film I saw from 2018 called, and I apologize if I don't say it right, but I think it's Ganjam. It's The Haunted Asylum. Just, again, very, very effective, tight film. It's about a group of, I guess, maybe, I wouldn't even say teens, probably young adults. And they want to go into this haunted asylum that's been shut down for years and film there. Because there's, of course, a legend about what happened there, when it was operative. And so they go in, and it's really all about getting likes on YouTube, which is funny because that drives a lot of people, obviously in real life too. And in this film, it drives them. So they're willing to take chances and, like, hey, we want to try to get 1 million likes. If they get 1 million likes, they'll get, I forget, $50,000 each or something like that. So it's also a kind of a commentary on social media today too, and our culture, where people are willing to put themselves in grave danger to get those likes, and subsequently the money. But the effects, I don't think there's much gore really either, but very, very scary, very tense because of course it's a haunted asylum.
Nice.
And it ends up halfway through, you realize that some of the people are in on it. Like they're trying to make it scarier to get the more likes. And the one guy stays back to watch how many likes they're getting. And he, secretly tells some of the other guys like, yeah, we're at 500,000. Yeah, keep going. But then certain things start happening that they're not in control of. And they start to realize that the place really is haunted. And there's a couple scenes. If you see it, we could talk about the one scene. Okay. Everyone I've talked to, when they say, oh, how about the one scene? I said, I know what you're talking about, right? It's not in the asylum. It's when they're outside again. And they're like, yeah. And everyone knows it's very, I guess it's horror. I mean, it makes you feel very unsettled. Okay. Which is horror, And it's very, it sits with you. Okay. In fact, my kids were warning my wife not to see it because she had work the next day. And they said, I don't think she's going to be able to sleep tonight after seeing this. Yeah. So it's that kind of an effective film, And again, you don't need a lot of blood, or even monsters, really. You just need the atmosphere and the thrills.
Atmosphere is a big thing.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
My second honorable mention is The Shining.
Oh yeah.
Which I my appreciation for that one has grown as I've gotten older. I went back and watched it again twice since I saw it for the first time. And every time I watch it again, I think, oh, this is better than I thought.
I may have to do that because I was not a big fan of it. And I love Jack Nicholson and I love Stephen King. And
I don't like Stanley Kubrick.
Oh yeah, and I don't mind him in certain things. I didn't like him doing horror. I didn't enjoy The Shining. I thought it was, it was 5 years after Cuckoo's Nest, and I still thought. Yeah. I thought Jack Nicholson was still kind of a comedic actor, and I don't know. I didn't love him in that role.
I don't love him in the beginning. I think once he's kind of locked in, and you kind of watch. I don't know. I feel like the book does something different, where it's this is a normal guy who's trying, who's slowly going insane. Yeah. Where this is a guy who was unsettled to begin with, right? And he's going in there, and the hotel is taking over, is bringing out the worst, and who's already a bad person, right? I don't even think the Nicholson's the best part of it. I think it's Duvall. On a rewatch, I was like,
and it's so funny because she's hated for her role.
I know,
but I don't hate. I never did.
She did a good job.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
I'm a Shelley Duvall defender. I like her.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'll be on that. I'll stand on that side with you. Especially because I think she's been so unfairly, almost blamed for. And the film is still iconic.
Yeah, it did really well.
But they think she's the weakest part in it. But I thought it was pretty realistic. Yeah,
she's trying because she's a. You can't even really call her a weak person because the first thing she does is she grabs her son and does everything she can to protect him. Right. She does her job. She's awesome.
A strong mother. Yeah.
She is. And
she's also being herself. Yeah. That maybe is how she would react. Even if she was weak, well, some people do react that way. Sure. To terror.
And I think the best scene in the movie is after she finds the typewriter, where it's he's just been typing the same phrase for
all work and no play.
Yeah, for months. Yeah. And she gets backed up the stairs with a baseball bat, and in a traditional horror movie, I would be like, oh, he's going to get the drop on her, and she doesn't. She drops him with the bat. Yeah. And I'm like, all right. Right. Get him.
Yeah. That was kind of shocking.
No, I think it's an effective movie, and I think it's effective because it just feels like I'm not scared. I just feel like my skin is crawling the whole film, which I think is they do a lot of things with the way the hotel's set up. I think it's a very good, effectively, this is just I just don't want to be here. I'm just unsettled.
Yeah. I may have to watch it again too because I know I saw that at the movies.
I was unimpressed the first time I
And
saw it.
yeah, I was too. And I waited online and I was waiting with some friends and we were all talking about how great it's going to be. And when it was over, all of us collectively were like, I don't know. I didn't feel that scared or that affected by it. Some of them hadn't read the book. I had.
Okay.
And I didn't think it was necessarily even a bad sort of adaptation of it, but I don't know. I was surprisingly not scared.
It is the source of my favorite Jack Nicholson movie trivia of all time, which is like the door that they built like a fake door for Jack Nicholson to break through, but he was a volunteer fire marshal, and he took it down in like one swing.
Wow.
So they had to put up like an actual door for him to try to get through.
That's interesting. I didn't
is
know
that crazy?
That's good trivia. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I just can't imagine like being like in a fire and then like the guy that comes through the door to your rescue is Jack Nicholson. I'm like, that's insane.
I know. Imagine that. Yeah. Come here, honey. I'm gonna take you out of here. I don't know. I think I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I'll try the fire. Thanks very much. You.
Thanks, Jack. That's funny.
Do you have a final honorable mention?
I don't, but you know what? I will just come up with one.
Yeah, go for it.
I just so many. Like I said, it would be hard.
I know. Yeah,
it's hard to even whittle it down. But speaking of the Stephen King adaptations, I love The Dead Zone.
Yes.
And it was a really great film. I loved Christopher Walken in that, sort of before he became...
He's really young there. Yeah.
He's very young. And I still like him, but he's sort of almost like doing Christopher Walken now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that film, I thought he was a little more subdued, and I thought it was very effective. It's a great story. Well done. Sad, also very sad character, you know, because he's in love, supposedly about to get married to Brooke Adams again, who was in Body Snatchers, And then he gets into a car accident, and then he wakes up, and it's years later, and she's married now, and has a kid, I think, or two.
And he's got that.
Yeah, and his whole life
can't live with.
Yeah, and his whole life is over. But now he has this blessing, which of course he gets angry about. It's not a blessing; it's a curse. You know, being able to see everyone's future, everyone who touches you.
That's crazy.
It's a great idea for a story, and it was well done. I was very happy with I actually liked that film better than the book, which is not the usual case, you know. I thought seeing it brought to screen, I thought they did a really good job.
A lot of good performances in that one. That was my first Cronenberg.
Oh, yeah. Really good film, yeah. Probably one of the best, I think. I might even say it's one of the best adaptations of a Stephen King novel.
He's got some rough ones.
He does, yeah.
There's some really good ones, and there's some really bad ones.
Yeah, there are. And a lot of them were short stories, so I'm going to say novel. That was probably the best adaptation. And it's hard to say because there's a lot of good ones. But...
I'm a Silver Bullet defendant, so...
And that was a short story, so yeah, I could go with you there, yeah. That was a good... He had to touch everything. He had the vampire, he had a werewolf.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried his hand at everything. I really can't speak for it. Everyone says that's like his best.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a TV series originally, and I haven't seen the movie, the theatrical movie.
I haven't either. I've seen parts of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not really even compelled to watch it. I know the story. And when I read the book, that was the first 1,000-page book I ever read.
Yeah, it's a big one.
And when it ended, I was really disappointed.
Half of it doesn't make sense.
No, and I felt like it had to have more than this. Like, you know, you put me through all these pages and all this time.
The ending is really lame.
Oh, yeah. And there's a whole sex scene that
it doesn't even
really was
really
out
of line.
I didn't care much as a kid, but as a father, I'm like, wow, I can't believe you put that in there, you know?
What's crazy, I forget what I was watching with my sisters recently, and it was like insane because none of us have seen it, but we all know it.
Yeah.
There's something that happens, and I can't remember. It'll come to me eventually what it was we were watching. My sister said about the monster, whatever it is. She goes, at the end of this is like gonna be like a tiny baby spider they have to kill.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
right.
Yeah, like that's insane that you came up with that.
Yeah, isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah, and that's what was so disappointing because I didn't know what I expected. I mean, I would have expected it was just some guy. You know, even that would have been kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
But for it to be like a B horror film, sci-fi sort of film from the 50s, I was like, oh, boy, all this time for that?
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it really felt. It's not like
long story.
Yeah, it's not like I just watched the film. I read it.
Slogged through this.
Yeah.
My last honorable mention, and it's a weird one, and I agonize about it, but I have such a personal, like, just fondness for this that I couldn't leave it off, is Corpse Bride.
Oh, yeah.
From 2005. That's probably my favorite Tim Burton movie that's not Batman.
Wow.
It's just...
More so than Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, I don't love, which my sisters, if they ever hear this, are going to be mad about that. I love Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
I don't think it works 100%. I think it's a little... The seams are showing in a couple different spots. Like, the plot and the characters could be a little bit more well put together and more explored. I just think the movie is having such a rolling good time with kind of getting you invested in like the world and the jokes. It's just kind of going at such like a good light clip. It rolls off me nice and easy. Like when it's over, I'm like, oh, that was fun. I'd like to do it again.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times, and it's Evelyn, my daughter, one of her favorite films too. Actually, yeah, she had girlfriends over for Halloween for her birthday, October 12th. They had like a little Halloween theme, and they were gonna watch. They didn't have time. They ended up running out of time.
It's a short movie.
It is short, right? Yeah. And they were gonna watch that because that's a good choice. Yeah,
it's so fun.
It is. It's really well, and I like Johnny Depp in that too.
His
character, very good. Yeah, very likable.
Christopher Lee's there.
Yeah.
For a couple
he's
minutes.
Great in that too. Yeah,
he's fantastic. There's some really good.
And it's sad, actually. You know, like you feel sorry for
everyone.
Helena Bonham Carter, right?
Yeah,
she's
the corpse bride.
Yeah, and you feel sorry for her. It's, it's sad.
It's also got like a genuinely iconic Peter Lorre impression.
Oh yeah.
As like a main, like a side character.
Isn't that crazy?
He's always great.
Like Peter Lorre,
he's immortal.
He is, yeah.
But it's also got like a good spooky vibe. Of all the movies we talked about, like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and Corpse Bride, those are ones I'd be comfortable showing like a kid.
Yeah.
Like if I like an 8-year-old.
Abbott and Costello definitely, yeah, because my kids were kind of grew up on that. They weren't ready for horror yet, but that kind of good introduction.
But I think like those stuff where it's like, hey, like this stuff can be fun if you enjoy it the right way.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what Corpse Bride brings to the Tim Burton mythos, and like the horror film for kids really is like, hey, you can tell a really good story with some pretty gross stuff, and you can still be like, this is as much as I love it as an adult, this is a children's film.
It is, yeah. So it's safe, which I like too. Like a lot of the old Universal horror films too.
Pretty safe.
Yeah, you can watch them with kids, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're psychologically prepared for it or not, but there's nothing that's going to shock them.
I wouldn't show my kids Psycho. Or
no, not that. No,
I'd wait on that one.
Right. The early Universals, though, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Oh, yeah.
Because you also develop some sympathy for the characters, too, you know, like especially Wolfman.
Kids love monsters.
Oh, yeah.
There was that movie in the late 80s, The Monster Squad. Like, I think of that where I'm like, this is like the Goonies, but the horror side of it. Like,
I have that on DVD, too, yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with monsters. I remember as a kid telling my children, I mean, not as a kid, but my children were kids. I remember telling them, you know, when I was scared as a kid, I became friends with my monsters. Like I instead of going to bed and being scared of the dark, I just kind of started to like, not that obviously that doesn't work with real human monsters,
right,
but the typical Universal type monsters. You know, I enjoyed them, so I wasn't scared of them anymore. I had the Aurora models that would glow in the dark.
That's cool.
And I love those, and I found that it's so weird, but I found that comforting. Sometimes I'd wake up at night and I'd look over and I'd see like the Wolfman or the mummy's head glowing. And I was like, oh, okay, they're there. I'm safe. Almost like they were watching over me.
That's funny.
You know, things that would scare other kids, I found very comforting. So, I don't know. I think we need horror. We do need horror.
Yeah, the genre will never go away. Like some of our earliest stories that we tell each other as human beings are horror stories.
Yeah, I'm sure sitting around the fire, the cavemen, I'm sure they're telling about a, creature that they almost got eaten by, which it could be a horror story. We tell scary stories. It's part of it. I mean, it's a huge part of the human experience. It really is.
We like scaring each other.
Yeah.
We like being scared.
We do, yeah. And I think I love that part of the human history.
It's a lot of fun.
It is, yeah.
So, I don't know how many of these I'm going to make it through. I already hit Psycho and The Shining for my Halloween watch list for the year. I think Dad wants to do Dog Soldiers next week. We'll see if we get to it.
Oh, that's good, too. Have you seen it before?
I have not.
Oh, it's good.
Neither has he.
It's also like a werewolf type film. Very well done, yeah. Scottish, I think, too.
I also want to get through... I do have to do my annual viewing of Beetlejuice before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be him for Halloween at work.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So,
yeah. That's interesting.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, we could do another one of these too.
We could probably do tons of these.
We could. I mean,
because I fought hard. Like there was about 10 or 15 movies that I did not put on the list that I wanted to.
It really is hard to just come up with like 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I had way more. I wanted to bring on The Invisible Man really bad. I wanted to do.
That's another great one. Great performance. Yeah. You don't even see him really.
No.
Till the final.
No.
I don't think you ever see him, do you?
You see his face at the very last shot.
That's right. Yes. Very last shot. That was a trivia question I asked once too.
That's cool.
About a horror film where you only see the character in the very last shot.
But it's such a vast genre, and we both like it so much. There's so much to do with it.
Yeah.
We could talk about horror movies forever. Yeah. But there will be other Halloweens.
Yes, there will. Yep.
So. Yeah. With all that, thank you guys.
Halloween
happy Halloween. Thanks for listening in. We took a short break from a regularly scheduled broadcasting for the Halloween special, but we'll be back with the regulars.
Maybe something about. Do you want to tease it a little bit? I mean, because it's Robert Redford.
Yeah, I think, and I mentioned this too. I think last episode because originally we were supposed to do Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but Halloween snuck up on us.
Yeah.
But next week, hopefully, or next time we do this, we will be talking about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid in honor of the late Robert Redford, and in honor of just being a really good movie.
Yes, yeah, a great film. Yeah.
So, if you guys enjoyed this, let us know. If you want us to do other countdown episodes, let us know in the comments if there's anything specific you want to hear. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope we'll see you guys next time we do this.
Yep.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.